Welcome back to another exciting edition of Rake Your Position, where four lifelong friends striving to live out their dreams for the comfort of their kids. I'm Aaron, your host.
I'm Joe, the groundskeeper. I'd like you to check out my new merch line. It's going to be a rival to Under Armour. It's called Over Weak Fabric.
Yeah, sign me up. Single shirt. I'm Lee, and I stand with Oakland.
And I'm Corey the Stat Man.
Well, that was wonderful, guys. We've got a fun episode for you. We're going to do a ranking. We're going to talk about Oakland as Jared is geared up, literally and figuratively ready to go. Corey and Joe have some wonderful insights for us later on in the pod. So let's just jump into the rankings. Recap last week, we had Rays 19, Rangers 13, Braves 10, Orioles 9, Diamondbacks 5. So the Rays were not unanimous. So let's see where they fall this week. All right, coming in at number 5 with 8 points, still holding on, is the Rangers. The Rangers still up there. We'll have some little discussion about them, I think, here in just a minute. Number 4, moving up a spot, the Diamondbacks. The Rangers got a second and 2 fourth. The Diamondbacks got a second, third, fourth, and fifth. So the Diamondbacks got 4 votes. The Rangers only got 3. So that snuck the Diamondbacks ahead of them. Baltimore tied with Diamondbacks. So I gave them the 3 spot because they've been in the rankings more often. Exact same votes, a second, a third, a fourth, and a fifth. The Braves hold on barely to the 2 spot with a second and 2/3 and a fifth. And the Rays are back to being unanimous because Joseph finally got smart.
Are you guys proud of me?
I am. Well done. Joseph finally figured out how baseball works.
I was going to revoke my vote if they lost today. We're recording this a day later than normal because someone hit a power pole where I live.
It was none of us, but
no,
Corey was out of power for a night.
I was going to lead it off by saying I revoked my 5 points for the Rays if they lost 3 straight to the Athletics, but
the hottest team in baseball.
That's true. I imagine we'll talk about it. I don't know what gives it away.
Yeah, that's great. So I did not vote for the Rangers. I voted for the Astros, and I think I messed up, guys. That was just me probably being a little ornery because the Astros are behind the Rangers. Both of them had a weak May and beat up on people, and both of them are kind of struggling right now. So
did you just apologize?
I did. I voted for the Astros because I think right now, even though the Rangers are ahead of them, I think if the Astros-Rangers played a 3-game set or even a 7-game set, the Astros would win that. But everything statistically points to the Rangers. So my gut said Astros. They got 3 stud pitchers at the rotation, 3 guys at the back of the pen, lights out. And they're 1 right-handed power hitter away from being a force. They have nobody from the right side of the plate that can hit.
Didn't they just lose 2 key pieces, though?
Oh, who did they lose?
McCullers for the season, I think.
Yeah, McCullers already down. Yeah.
And then
Jordan get hurt?
Yeah, Jordan's down, but Tucker and Brantley's going to be coming back, although I did see after I voted that he got shut down again, so I don't know how long Brantley's out now.
Last I checked, we all hit right-handed also.
Yes.
They don't need to look very far,
With power.
Yeah, we are right here. Of course, Corey's 5'4", 99 pounds, so his stature is not quite the same. But yeah, Abreu was brought in to be that righty thumper. He hasn't done it. Bregman's power is slowly declining every year, but Altuve's back and he's on fire. They've played better since he came back. So,
look, I'm
that's
trying.
Who I voted for, but
trying not
you guys
to
like the Rangers.
The Astros for Ben.
So, any other thoughts about those top 5 teams, guys?
I think we've beat those 5 teams to death. I mean, they are, like we said, kind of set themselves apart. You know, there's 5 to 7 teams that have done so. But I think there's some other teams that are going to be making it kind of interesting here coming up.
Yeah, let's talk about some of those. What are some teams you guys think are like? I've been tooting the Diamondbacks horn all season. I've been driving a one-man bandwagon. You guys finally got on board, and they have made it back-to-back weeks. So, what are some other teams like that you think over the next couple weeks to a month you expect to make some noise?
Jared or Joe?
I'll jump in. I think I famously said they'd take it by 15 games. So I need and I don't really
Cardinals,
see
Guardians. Who are we talking about?
Yeah,
We're not talking about one of those.
said the Indians, so I apologize. But the Cleveland, and they're are they under 500? I think even.
Yes.
Yeah, they're under 500. But I mean, nobody's running away with that division. So, I mean, they still have pretty much the same team. Nobody's, on the 60-day IL with torn ligaments. So I feel like they could still make a run in that weak division with the team that they have. And then, sorry if I'm taking everybody's team here. I'm pulling a Corey. I did have San Diego in the World Series, and if you look at their expected win-loss, their runs, at least their pitching looks pretty decent. West is pretty tough, so they're kind of buried in fourth place. But I'll say those two teams and probably take a couple off of somebody else's list. But next up,
What do you got?
Corey's got the list, so maybe I should let him go. And then if he doesn't name the teams I want, I'll.
Yeah. I could do like you said, I could do a few. The one I think that I would focus on is the Blue Jays. I mean, I think they were a pretty favorite team of ours when we did our preseason predictions just to begin with. They are the division is ridiculous just to begin with. I mean, they're 38 and 32 and 11 games back. The Guardians that we just talked about are 31 and 36 and 3.5 games back. But I don't. They are 1.5 games back of the Yankees, which is the third place team in that division. But they've done well. I mean, the bats are there. Bassett's done really good. Manoah, I think, has to be better than he has been.
Can't be much worse.
Sent to the lowest.
That's true.
He got sent to the lowest of lows, right? You can't go any lower than where he got sent.
Yeah, he's in developmental league right now, isn't he?
Yeah. So I don't know what's going on. I mean, I saw some stuff about how it seemed like he was maybe struggling with the pitch clock and getting fatigued. This is not me trying to be mean, but he is a bigger fella. So it seems like him speeding up might be wearing him down a little bit.
Yeah. And here's a quick stat about him real quick. I know Joe will love this one. He beat the Cardinals opening day. So anyway, continue.
But
of course, who doesn't? I beat the Cardinals last week.
It's a team that I think could very easily run off a string of, I don't want to say a 10-game win streak, but they could win a lot of games in like a couple of weeks and just be right
Do
there.
they have a string of games coming up against opponents outside the East?
I'm not sure what their upcoming.
I need to run through the Central real quick.
Yeah, no kidding. Let's see what their schedule looks like.
Yeah, well, look at that. That's one thing about this balanced schedule this year is.
Yeah, I remember
you're not beating up on each other. So you've seen the East just dominating.
So they just played 3 against the Orioles. They've got the Rangers, Marlins, Athletics, Giants, Red Sox. I mean, the Athletics, other than them being awesome the past week, you'd think that that's kind of a gimme series. But other than that, it's not teams that are easy by any means. But yeah, I mean, the Blue Jays are a 4th place team that I think could very easily make their way into our top 5 pretty quick.
A couple of us had him winning the division, I believe. Me and you, Aaron.
Yep, I had him. Yeah, I think as you talk about that, I don't have it pulled up, but like in my mind, the Jays were going to do what Baltimore's doing, and Baltimore was going to be where the Jays are at, like hover around 500, fun to watch, could beat anybody, but couldn't do it consistently.
Yep.
but we're seeing the opposite play out. It's just a good division.
Yes, very good division. I'll stick with one. I could talk about another if you don't take it, Jared.
That's not like you.
Who are you, Corey?
Well, then I'll pick one, and then if this isn't the team that you picked,
Sure.
I'll let you go with that one. I was kind of flip-flopping between the two. But, I mean, I think Miami's looking pretty good. I mean, they're 38 and 31. I think they're on the cusps of, outside these teams, as far as records go, not too far off. I mean, Joe's favorite stat, their run differential is -30, so that's not great. But I mean, I got the pieces and probably the hottest hitter in the league right now at the top of the lineup. So I mean, I can see the Marlins making some noise but I mean, again, their division's pretty tough. I mean, obviously Atlanta, but I mean, Philly looks like they're kind of turning it around a little bit too. So it can always depend. And then I got one more team for it, but I'll kick it back to you to see if it's the same team or not.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, you mentioned the Phillies. Well, that was another one. I had three, so I wasn't going to talk about the Phillies, but they've got back to 500, which is not that exciting. But they are on an upward trend. I think that in order to they're a little bit farther away from the top 5 discussion than the Blue Jays are, but I think the trajectory of them is good. Again, they're a team other than Aaron here, I think would disagree with me, I'm sure. But they're a team, I think, that's got the pieces to win. Their offense is good. Trey Turner's been awful, and he can't keep doing that. They're pitching decent. I haven't heard about Andrew Painter in a while, but last I heard he was maybe throwing a little, but that's been, I think, weeks ago. So that was one, and then the other one was the Reds. If they add some sort of pitching, okay, you guys don't like the Reds. I mean, they're just so fun and exciting to watch that if the young guys continue to play anywhere near like kind of what they have been, and in that division, they're a game and a half back, and they're gonna be good for a few years now.
As De La Cruz is 0 for 14.
That's okay. He's imposing. He can bunt. Probably the fastest man on earth.
He just needs to chase the pitch that he knows the catcher can't catch and run to second.
That's fair.
That'd be fun.
That's a strategy. I've always thought that should be implemented more.
I think the Savannah Bananas have it where it doesn't even have to be a third strike. Like if the catcher misses it, you can just take off.
You can run an inning drop strike.
Yeah.
MLB should look at implementing
I
that.
know.
Yeah.
A lot of fun down there. We got to get down there sometime, boys.
We do.
Yeah, I was hoping somebody talk about the Reds. I was fishing for that. I just saw today that Strand is starting in right field in AAA. So they're trying to figure out what to do with him. We've talked a lot about him in our group chats. His overall numbers look awesome, but there's some red flags in the chase rate and K rate. And then position-wise, what's he going to do? But yeah, they're trying there in Cincy.
I think he's the illegitimate son of Vlad Guerrero because he's such a good bad ball hitter.
Wow. Doing some more Ancestry.com here.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if the stat man maybe could figure this out. We like to throw you curveballs in the
Oh, yeah, thanks.
but if you can recall back to which pod I started talking about the Marlins, that they could be good. So I'm just
I don't know.
Is that episode 5? Okay.
I still don't think they're good.
They keep finding a way. They play
know.
good defense, got good pitching, and they keep running Segura out there at third base. I don't know if you guys seen his stats. I should have pulled it up when.
So what about you? So the Marlins traded Lopez for a rise. What if they traded another pitcher to the Reds for a bat?
They've got some young. AAA's got a couple of third base options, but we're going to talk about buyers and sellers next week. And I mentioned this right before we started. If they sent one of those young pitchers to the Cardinals for Paul Goldschmidt, like all of a sudden put Paul Goldschmidt in all that lineup. There's something there.
Yeah.
Gene Segura has a 493 OPS and he's played 60 games. That's the Marlins third baseman, and they keep winning with him in the lineup. So it would not be hard to make their lineup better. They are just not making moves at the moment, but
Jared,
it wouldn't take much.
Do you still have a team to talk about?
I think just an honorable mention, and I think we all want them. We're all on the same page and wanting them to succeed as the Angels. I mean, they're 38 and 32. I mean, can still make some damage, but I think if we're talking about teams that we haven't talked about, I think they're a team, if they continue on the run that they are, we can, I mean, it's a long shot, but I think we can talk about them potentially cracking the top 5.
Is there a more universally loved team than the Angels right now?
I don't think so.
Not with Ohtani out there.
Well, I'd say Baltimore. I think there's a lot of people
That's
cheering
true.
for Baltimore.
Yeah.
No, that's a good one. I think, yeah, they're 8-2 their last 10, 5.5 back. They could be up there pretty quick.
And they're beating decent teams, and a lot of us, I think Jared and I both had the Mariners in the World Series. That's another team that's like.
Do you want to talk
like
about
they're just-
Jared's World Series predictions?
We want to talk about your World Series prediction.
That's true. I don't have any room to talk. Never
That's
mind.
why he wants the Blue Jays.
Moving on.
As we've talked about these young guys, we've said like what young guy is going to get called up and make the difference, and I think that's going to be fun to see over the next couple of weeks. And I'm going to play Homer just a little bit. I want to highlight this one young guy. This is about the Rakings, kind of, but the Braves are in dire need of starting pitching. And AJ Smith-Shawver's pitching tonight, and I wanted to share this with you guys because it's a prospect that's not been talked a lot about. He's just 20 years old. Today is his 31st professional pitching experience, like total minors to now, 31 appearances. He was drafted out of high school not even 2 years ago, and he's already in the bigs. And he didn't start pitching until his junior year in high school. So the Braves are pulling from the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, I wasn't sure where you're going with that, but I was gonna say it sounds like they're desperate more than anything.
But his stuff is electric. But yeah, it's going to be interesting the next couple months as we dive into buyers and sellers over the next couple weeks, because some of these teams that have stayed in their rankings have some holes, they have some needs. But with the extra wild card, the more balanced schedule, people probably won't sell until the very last minute because you got a decent shot of making the playoffs in general. So
I would say, yeah, Jared, let me get this in real quick. I would say whenever I hear electric anymore, all I think of is 7.8 base on balls per 9 innings. Maybe I've been burned by Cardinal prospects, but electric.
I was looking up like advanced hitting stats for teams. The Cardinals' offense is statistically like fine. I didn't realize just how bad the pitching has been.
Look, we can travel that road, but we're not going to go. We've talked about it way too much. The only thing last thing I'll say about one of the teams that we mentioned here is the Reds. What I do like about them is that I think they're doing it the right way. Like, they got these players and they're figuring out ways to get more of these young players up. I think teams are hopefully starting to go away from trying to keep these players in the minors for as long as they can to like, well, we got to bring this guy up. But I mean, it feels like every week the Reds are bringing up someone. So I think that's pretty exciting.
I mean, you know what they say.
If you
win, you win.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
Our groundskeeper said that one time. It was a pretty wise statement. If you win, you win.
What did I say?
He wasn't looking. If you win, you win. But yeah, I mean,
Dodgers.
The Reds and Baltimore both done that the last couple of years, and look at them; they're two funnest teams to watch.
They haven't extended anybody though, so like some of the other teams have. So I'm waiting for that to happen, and then I'll be really excited. So
yeah, I mean, I gotta think Adley's about to get paid. I don't like anybody in baseball. Your catcher, your team leader. 1 year service.
I will buy if they extend him. I will buy a jersey, but I'm not going to do that until they extend him.
What jersey will you buy?
Yeah, that's a good
Kyle
question.
Hendricks.
Jan Gomes.
If they extend him, Corey's buying us all Adley jerseys.
Ooh, nice. Thank you.
Did they charge based on fabric size? Because you're going to have to make up the difference.
I'm working on I'm working on a possible merchandise.
Wow.
You're so tall.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Let's see how tall you are next time I talk about you.
I'll be the size of an ant. Anyway, no matter what.
Jared, what do you got for us? I hear a constant droning in this side. I need it drowned out.
The podcast is getting divided. Woo. Yeah, let's transition out of that. Sorry, Cooney.
Yeah, dang.
So let's see, guys. What's happening this week in baseball? What's been?
I don't even care.
I've heard the Athletics have done really well, which is
Okay, yeah, that's one thing. That's
a
one
strange change of pace.
thing. Yeah, Skip, you got anything that's happening this week in baseball?
He doesn't want to talk about it.
Oof. Only thing I'm looking forward to is I can't even talk about it. So no, I'll throw it back to you, Jay Lee.
All right, Aaron, anything?
No, I got nothing. I was trying to be smart.
Okay. Thought y'all were gonna come up with something clever. So,
I tried.
as you saw in the beginning of the episode, I made this sweet homemade sign that says "I stand with Oakland."
That's homemade,
Yeah, I
Yeah.
wrote it.
dude. Sell those, legit.
I'll put it on a T-shirt. So I don't even really know where to start. I guess what I can say is, from my opinion, I'm super frustrated. I think it's another. I guess this hits a little too close to home. I kind of look at it from a St. Louis Rams perspective. What's kind of happening here in Oakland? I think they wanted out for the longest time, and it's frustrating because I mean I wrote some stuff down. You look back, like they made the postseason like 3 years ago in 2020. They won 97 games in 2019, and then immediately just sold off all their players. I get not wanting to pay people. I do. But I mean, like, I'm talking like and you guys know this, every single player that's ever been good, there's gonna be like, yep, can't pay him, can't pay him, can't pay him. They're raising ticket prices. They are doing anything to improve, not anything to improve the fan experience at all. So they're making more of this money for people to come to the ball game. And then, I mean, I think what announcer was it that said there was a possum they had to move because there was a possum in the announcer booth?
Yeah.
Like,
I think it was the Mets. The Mets had a broadcast from
I
a
think it
different
was the
place in the
Mets.
stadium because there'd been a possum living there, and they knew about it and had got fixed.
And so the owners use poor attendance as an excuse, condition of the ballpark. But I mean, like, to me, like that's all on you. Like, and I guess for me, like there hasn't been a proposal to try to fix these things. It's just been like, well, sorry, nothing we can do about it. Nothing we can do about it. And it sucks because there's so much history in that stadium. And from what I've been told, and like you're hearing more and more players talk about Oakland, they don't want to see Oakland leave. If Vegas wants a team, they want to see an expansion team. Which for me, why would you not want more teams? It has more revenue for the commish, the whole MLB, and all the owners, right? And so for me, I don't want to see the Athletics go to Vegas and become the Athletics. Like, leave that for the potential for if Oakland can ever get a team again, have the Vegas be a completely different team, take the team out of Oakland, but make them kind of like with the Pelicans and the NBA when they moved and made a different team. Sorry. But apparently what I have also read is that the city of Oakland and all that proposed a bill for like $1 billion in infrastructure to help rebuild this stadium. And apparently the owner of the A's is like, no, we never got that. So it's frustrating to hear like there was attempts to try to keep them, but then the owner's like, yeah, there never was. And then you have, like we talked about before we got on the pod with Rob Manfred and his sorry excuse for whatever. Probably my least favorite commissioner, if I'm being honest. And I could, the notes I wrote down for Rob Manfred are Rob Manfred sucks. I didn't even want to talk.
No, take him off the list.
Yeah, sorry, Rob.
No, come on. And we can have a one-on-one conversation, please. But then you're also seeing players like Bryce Harper today came out and said, he's like, I don't want to see them, like, being from Vegas is his hometown. He's like, I don't want to see the Oakland, the Athletics in Vegas. So like all these players coming out and just, it's frustrating to see because it definitely feels like a St. Louis Rams situation where there is a fan base here. They're like, I know their attendance isn't the best, but like if you're not going to provide to make the experience better for the fan, like I'm not going to go either, if I'm being honest. So it hits a little close to home with me in that aspect because the Rams got taken away from me. I'll leave it to discussion for you guys. That's kind of all I wrote down. I could probably keep going, but I don't want to take up the whole pod. So to you guys.
It's like you said, there's, for me anyway, there is a lot of history there. You think, one, I really like the jerseys. I feel I don't know, you don't see a lot of green jerseys. Maybe there is, I don't know, but they really stand out to me. I like them. And then, just running through my mind, I see Ricky Henderson, Dennis Eckersley, Reggie Jackson, just a handful of guys. It's like you see all these old clips and I'm not sure how many World Series titles they have, but
I think 2.
They got a couple. So it's just weird, yeah, that it's like just declined to the point where they're like, yeah, we're going to Vegas, which everything's money, which I get, and that's you got to run a business, but it does stink.
As you were talking, I'm running like records, 10 years back, 5 years back. Oakland just fell below 500 in the last 5 years. Last 10 years, they have a winning record. I mean, last 5 years, they have more wins than the Mets. They have more wins than the Blue Jays. They have more wins than the Giants. They have more wins than the Phillies.
They always do good with little.
Yeah. And you look at my biggest frustration is, they've got to sell every couple of years. They have to sell because they won't pay people. I get that. Every other time they do awesome in these trades, and it seems like this time around they didn't try because they wanted to be bad. That's what it looks like on the outside, because especially, I don't know, just nobody stuck except for that Ruiz kid, which is actually the one person we're like, why didn't you just keep Contreras? Well, they flipped him to Milwaukee for Ruiz, and he's been leading off and been their most consistent player all year. He's fun to watch. I don't know if you got a chance to see him play. Dude's fast.
Yeah, he's fun.
So that's the one guy after you trade Murphy, Olsen,
Chapman.
Chapman. That's the other guy. Thank you. One guy back at those 3 deals. It's sad.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing is they talk about how poor the attendance is, but when you put together the team they put together, it's like it almost seemed like the league is saying, like, we can't have a team here because you guys don't go to the games. It's like, why would anybody go to these games for the team that where our higher ups are putting out there? And so it's so, like, it's a crazy thing, especially hearing Manfred's comments where he's basically like putting it on the fan base and like almost blaming the fan base for why they have to move. And it's like, that's not at all the case. Like, I wouldn't go watch that team play baseball, and they're, I'm sure, great guys, but it's not competitive. It's a sad thing for Oakland. It was, I would have kind of compared them to what the Rays do before the past 5 years, and not even past 5 years, past 3 years. Like, the Rays and the Athletics were always these little teams that would do really well, and it's easy to root for those guys because they don't have the huge payrolls, and they're going out there and they're winning. And I always enjoyed watching them. And
and we enjoy watching the young guys play. And that's all Oakland is. But
yeah, it's young, not so good guys now.
Yeah,
much better than me. I will admit that. But I just maybe should be a little bit higher caliber.
Joe, we said young guys, Joe, so we're out.
We're for sure out, but that's awfully humble of you, Corey, to recognize that people currently in the MLB are better than you.
I know some people weren't sure, so I just wanted to clear the air.
I mean, you're 5'1", 80 pounds.
Even for me, it kind of like Oakland, the Athletics have a spot that it always is like nostalgic for me of when I was younger watching baseball, like with the rotation of Tim Hudson, Barry Zito, Mark Mulder, and players like Eric Chavez, who like just seemed to just dominate there. Miguel Tejada, like, I don't know.
Giambi was out there too.
Yeah, Giambi, like, and I don't know. It sucks. Like, that's what I'll say about it. It's really disheartening. I'm the kind of guy that wants baseball to be fun and for the fans. And like, you take this big piece of history away just to go build a stadium in Vegas. I think, I don't know, it hurts it even more, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
You kind of mentioned it. I don't know if you know more, if anybody else saw more, but the PR for the mayor called Manfred a liar because Manfred said Oakland did not even attempt. And what Oakland was saying was they were demanding 55 acres of land that they could purchase, and then they settled in Oakland for 9 acres of land that they are leasing. And so, like, they obviously they didn't try because purchasing 55 versus renting 9 is a
Yeah.
huge difference. Like,
Mhm.
yeah. So that's sad. It just shows you that the owner didn't care. And the owner's not even talking. Like, somebody make Fisher answer a question. I had no idea what the guy even looks like.
He ain't
Well,
gonna talk.
I did see the somebody did a major league cutout of him at the game yesterday, where like they had the takeaway clothes.
Yes.
Mhm.
Somebody did have a Fisher cardboard cutout the game yesterday that was going viral on the socials, so that was fun. But other than that, I've never heard the guy talk, so I don't know.
We could, should, and probably will have I don't know, a whole podcast, but a pretty good sized topic on, what we think. There's no, I know there's no salary cap. There's no salary floor either, right?
Nope.
I mean, if you wanted to spend $5 million, you could. There's such a discrepancy there, especially with no floor. I guess with no cap either. You got some big cities and some big owners, but
I guess the floor technically would be what the league minimum times 26.
Yeah.
yeah.
So whatever
and
that is.
that's a joke in baseball terms, in baseball salaries. So I don't
And
know if
I
they'll
mean-
ever do something there because they're getting squashed by other leagues that are more competitive,
Yeah.
as in other sports.
I guess this is going to be a not great example because the Mets aren't performing as well as they should. But like, that's my point. If I'm an owner, and to Joe's point, there's no salary cap. There's no nothing. What do you want to do as an owner? Like, you're gonna make your money regardless. That's just flat up what's gonna happen.
Mhm.
But to straight up be like, I'm not paying any of these guys because I want to get to a different city. Like, nah, man, I'm gonna spend like the dude in New York. Yeah, it's not working right now. Maybe pay the right players, I guess, is what should happen. but I mean, that's the whole point, is to bring a championship to the city where the city adores this team.
Mhm.
Like, I don't.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not a freaking owner, but like, isn't that the point?
Not yet.
Isn't that the point?
I thought so, but yeah, more people treat it like a business now. When
Oh, for
when we grew up, they were fans.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Not-
there
not
are
companies.
there's 7 players on the Athletics currently making over $1 million.
That's
Okay.
it.
One
And,
was the Japanese pitcher.
Yep.
Mhm.
So he's making
Fujiyama.
3.25. Trevor May is making the most at 7 million. So your relief
Yeah.
pitcher closer is your highest paid player.
And he is struggle bussing it.
Yeah. Aledmus Diaz, second highest paid player.
Hey.
Laureano.
Fifth
back.
at 3.55. But yeah, so total is 60. So
Manny
that means
Pena.
Manny Pena. I thought he's not there or something.
Oh, I thought.
Oh
that's-
no, he's on the IL. 4.5.
So the Braves sent him over there
Yeah.
with Contreras in the Murphy trade.
I saw Aguilar just went to the Braves. That's not important.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like it's a $60 million payroll total, and your highest paid player is making 7 mil. Like, you still have to be making money. Like, if you would put out some better, like, at least try to put out a better version of your product that brings more than 2,000 fans to the stadium. Like, it can't be that hard as a baseball team owner to make more than $60 million in a year.
I don't think anybody's going to go though. Like, why would you go now? It's official. They're gone.
Well, I mean, Vegas is so hot right now, man. They just won the Stanley Cup 6 years in after coming.
I
after
met
expansion team.
Oakland fans.
I know, but I'm saying
like,
if they know
yeah.
they're going to Vegas, like, they go and sweat out a year in Oakland and then they go to Vegas. Like,
Apparently, it's not official. It's just not looking really good.
no,
yeah, they're not staying.
Hey, I still got.
I stand with Oakland.
The Athletics are actually paying $5 million to Trevor Rosenthal as a deferred salary as well. So
Well, there you go.
he is their
Little Trev.
third highest paid player who's not there.
That's amazing.
But
Well, yeah, it'll be sad. We've been talking. How can we get out there to the O.co before the Athletics move? So we got a season and a half. It sounds like, to get out there to see it. I've never been out there. I don't think any of us been out there, have we?
Joe's been the closest, I think.
Yeah, Joe's been to a couple of the California stadiums.
Yep.
All righty. Well, thanks, Jared. We stand with
Yep.
Oakland too.
I'm
Yeah.
standing right now.
I
We're not
took
gonna
my
be
hat
standing very
off.
long.
Yeah. Some of us longer than others.
All right, Corey.
That's two, man.
I know he's my least
I was talking
favorite.
about myself. I got bad knees. I caught a lot. No, I wanted to, since Jared took a little bit more of the
He's
serious
smiling.
thing, I'm gonna take a little bit of the fun thing, and that's position players pitching. And I'm not talking about the position players that pitch, that come in and throw it 45 miles an hour. That's fun in its own little way, but it's more fun to see position players try to pitch. And we had one recently in the past week with Brandon Crawford. He came in and he actually. So I was. There's a couple quotes that he had. One of them is Gabe Kapler, his manager, came over to him, was like, "Hey, you still want to pitch?" And Crawford's like, I'm gonna try, right? Like, I'm gonna go. Like, I'm not just gonna throw it up. Like, I'm gonna try and pitch. And Cap's like, yes, I know who you are. Like, I know the type of person you are. I know you're gonna do that. And so, he came in. There was actually a Fangraphs article on him. He had a topped out at 90 miles an hour on his fastball, and like it had a shape similar to Zach Greinke's. Threw an 86-mile-per-hour changeup, curveball, slider. Didn't give up any runs. And then the quote after the game, he's like, "Oh man, I always tell my pitchers how easy it is, and I was right." And it's just like it's something like that, but he's just basically like talking about how easy it was to pitch. And so, I'm going to talk about some other guys that did position players that have pitched well as well, but kind of going down this rabbit hole. The most recent player that has played all 9 positions in a game was Austin Romine. And I was gonna do a trivia, but you guys aren't coming up with that. That was September 30th.
Austin Romine.
Yep, you got it, Jared.
Who is Austin Romine?
Yeah, that's a good question. September 30th, 2017, for the Tigers. So that's like the last or the last series of the season. The Tigers went 64-98, so that had to be a thing where I'm sure his manager is just like, or he asked his manager, "Hey, you think I could play all 9 positions in a game?" And so that happened. Fun fact about Austin Romine: the second position player to pitch in the playoffs. The first was the first was Cliff Pennington in 2015. Again, I was going to ask you that, but no, nobody's also pulling
Oakland Athletics.
I was gonna say he's an A,
but
right?
he was an A.
Oh,
but he pitched to the Blue Jays. There's one game that has had position players as both the winning and losing pitcher, and that was in 2012, Orioles versus Red Sox. I will ask, can anybody name the winning pitcher of that game? Orioles Red Sox, 2012, 16-inning game.
Chris Davis.
The winning pitcher?
It was Chris Davis.
Holy smokes.
Darnell McDonald got the L. The Orioles also had the first position player to record a save in Stevie Wilkerson. And then in 1993, do you have something to say, Aaron?
Did Wilkerson throw knuckleballs, or did he just throw really slow? Do you have his pitching stats?
I don't.
I think he was lobbing at like 40 miles per hour. And I don't remember his knuckleball.
So like I think because they won the game by like 2. So I looked up these stats a few days ago, and it's already lost in mine. But anyway, in 1993, there's a position player that pitched for the Rangers and tore his UCL.
1993?
1993, position player who pitched for the Rangers tore his UCL.
I don't even know.
Anybody got a guess?
Juan Gonzalez.
It's a name you should know. It's not Juan Gonzalez. It's also a name.
Rodriguez.
What year? What team?
1993.
Ruben Sierra.
No, let somebody else go. It's a if you think of this guy, you're gonna be like, oh, of course it was this guy.
Ryan Klesko.
Oh no, I know.
No, not Ryan Klesko. Aaron?
Canseco.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Jose Canseco.
Yeah.
Tommy John surgery.
Yeah.
After pitching one inning. I don't even know if he finished the inning.
You think that was due to pitching or maybe a little deteration?
His muscles were a little too tight to throw, I think.
Yeah. So like he comes in
stress.
Because I think position players probably are just always asking anytime that there's a blowout, like, hey, come on, let me in. And so go ahead.
I was gonna say, Jared, when you hear Jose Canseco, what do you think of?
My head still hurts.
He doesn't remember.
Jared, turn around.
I had a front row seat to that. I thought you were gonna make a sweet play, but that's a story
Dude,
for
He
another
should
day.
have.
That ball
Dude.
off the bat, I thought was smoked.
It was.
It kind of was.
It would have went
Yeah.
out. I mean,
I'm
without
talking
your
like-
assistance.
I'm talking like it was gonna land in the lake. Smoke.
Well, I've never seen that happen.
Yeah.
For our
Um,
listeners,
Sure,
We're gonna
let's-
film in.
Let's do it.
For our listeners, Jay Lee is a immaculate outfielder. But on this particular play we're discussing, he ran back on a ball. He jumped up against the fence, right?
He was
Oh,
on
yeah.
top of the fence.
I
Yeah.
was on.
Mhm.
Hanging on the fence. Ball hits him on top of the head, flies over the fence. Homer.
He climbs the fence, puts his right hand on the fence, so he's waist up, higher than the fence, sticks his left arm out, and then never turns around. He's just laying there on top of the fence, so he's 3 feet above the fence with his glove outstretched. Never looks for the ball, and it hits him in the back of the head and bounces over for a home run.
Yeah.
And he
If
just
it
would have
rolls
bounced
the
the
ground
Sandlot
and
move.
just
If it
sits
would have
there.
bounced the other way, I might have had a shot.
Yeah,
Because I was like 3 feet from you at that point.
but maybe just think you didn't hear the last part of the story. Maybe I wasn't looking. I was trying to make a sweeter catch
You're trying to catch it on the
With-
ricochet?
with
Played my
not
straight
looking.
sound.
Oh,
Yeah.
like
That if it would have went in your glove, that would have been awesome.
just the
trying to-
Sandlot.
Say a lot of robbed homers.
Anyway,
Oh.
you're,
Amazing.
you're welcome, guys, for stories. You're
Yeah.
welcome.
At least
Uh,
it would have been a homer anyway. Canseco's should not have been a homer. That always bothers me. Why the pitcher gives up an earned run, home run, when it should be a 4-base error. But
I don't even know if I want to keep talking about my stuff. I have two guys on here that also statistically have done really well, position players pitching. One is JD Davis, who I never would have guessed. He doesn't seem like the guy who can pitch, but he had a 90s to low 90s fastball sinker. Actually pitched in 2 games, 3.38 ERA, 1.13 WHIP, 4-1 strikeout to walk ratio. He actually had I wrote this backwards. He actually had some rise on his fastball. So like he had a pretty decent spin rate on his 4-seamer, and then he had 2 inches on his sinker. So that's I picked guys from the past like 7 years because I can get StatCast.
You should have picked some from the future 7 years. That would have been cool.
Well, I was gonna say something about how maybe these position players could help the Cardinals in the rotation, but I didn't know how that was gonna go over.
Okay,
Hey.
there it is.
You said 4-1 strikeout to walk ratio,
Yep,
right?
I
That's
did.
what everybody should be. Throw
So the other-
strikes so you can get outs.
Well, he's throwing in the 90s. The other one, Aaron's pretty familiar with this guy, Charlie Culberson. Dude could pitch.
yeah.
1.23 ERA over 7 in a third. Oh, he's pitched 5 different seasons.
Yeah.
7 1/3 innings, 1.23 ERA, 1.36 WHIP. Never given up a home run. 90s on his fastball,
Mhm.
curveball, slider. Like this guy was good enough that they were probably other people that wanted. They were talking to the manager like, "Hey, let me in." It's like, no, sorry, I gotta go to Charlie, man. Charlie's coming in.
Hey, and Charlie's back on the Braves.
I know.
He's been with the Braves for like 3 weeks now. Has not touched the field. He's
Well-
just the super utility guy in case we need him.
He's
And
and
he
also
hasn't-
back in the bullpen.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I mean it's always fun to see the guys that come in because I think again going back to Chris Davis, even I didn't 2012s before Statcast stuff, but I think he was a pitcher like in college, and so he came in and was able to get the W in that one. But it's fun to see guys that that they're by no means have a shot of being a consistent 2-way player, but all these major leaguers pitched in high school almost certainly. So they got something, and you see this, especially Brandon Crawford. He's a shortstop. It also broke his streak of he has only ever played shortstop in the majors. Like he's got like 1,600 innings at shortstop, and now he's off some list of people who have only played shortstop for a certain amount of innings because he came in and pitched, and he did.
You know what he's telling himself? Worth.
Oh no, yeah, that's what he
Yeah.
said. He's like, yeah, I'm a little upset. I'm not on that list anymore. But man, that was fun. And I think his wife tweeted out like, oh, his dreams coming true right now because I guess conversations you have with your wife about like, man, if I could just get an inning in, that'd be pretty sweet. So,
Do y'all remember playing ball. I'm sorry, I talked like a sloth. So here's what that memory makes me think of. So like when coach is coming out to the mound and he's gonna pull the pitcher and we don't have like bullpen phones. You don't know who he's gonna call in. And like none of us were full-time pitchers by any means. And then you see him like point at you. When I got that point, I was so freaking jacked. I'm like,
I never
going to
got
the
the
mound,
point.
baby. Anybody
Yeah.
else get that? Corey, probably not. You were catching,
Nope.
but
If we were
Daly,
pointing,
was he ever like,
if we were pointing at Corey to come pitch, we were in real trouble.
I
It was
tried to
backstop would be wore out.
it was such a cool
No,
feeling.
I get that feeling. Because whenever I'd come into pitch, I was probably in the outfield, but I didn't make too many. Honestly, I didn't make that many relief appearances. I started games, then would get taken out. But but I mean, I guess in Little League that happened a lot. So I agree with you. Like when the coach goes to the mound, you're like, okay, well, who's he?
Who's he about to point to?
Here we go. So I feel you on that. And quick little, I don't know if you were done, Corey. So pardon me if you're not.
Go ahead.
But man, quick shout out to Brandon Crawford. Like I feel like his career is about to come to an end, and the dude's just been consistent. Like I feel like he's always been an under the radar shortstop, but always solid. Not just quiet. Shows up. Yeah, got the rings.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, I was watching the Cardinals game, and he was playing, and I mean, dominated us, of course. But I've always appreciated him because he's just been consistent.
And he was okay for the 2 days that Carlos Correa was going to play shortstop for the Giants. Like, he's the face of that franchise, and he's up for whatever.
That's I agree. Brandon Crawford's great. You reminded me of another quote. I guess him and Brandon Belt were pretty tight, and they mentioned to Brandon Belt after his game about Brandon Crawford pitching, and Brandon Belt was like, "Yeah, I would have thrown an immaculate inning, so whatever." So, like, it's just like baseball, like that kind of stuff. It's just a lot of fun.
No.
Brandon Crawford, I would agree. Like he is a sneaky guy that I would have always loved to have on my team. Yeah, great dude. I was through my talking about position players pitching, so.
Well, I'm intrigued by this next one because Joe's been
Yeah.
sitting on topic for a few weeks, and it says something very interesting here that he's changed.
That topic got pushed again. Sorry, that's
all right.
I got to do. That's got in-depth.
Do you see the agenda, Jared? Look what he's got written. I don't know.
No,
I don't know what to expect.
I don't have it pulled up.
Before we get into what I have here, we have to give a shout out to what we found out on Twitter over the last week.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
So we've had a week's, I don't know, maybe a couple months long now. We've had a weeks long debate on one, if it is a song, and two, what the heck the name of it is. Well, what a time we live in. Twitter has helped us find the answer to the
which is not at all what it actually sounds like.
Apparently it does.
No, that guy's just a saint or a musical genius.
I agree.
I'm looking him up right now. Shout out to
first shot. Oh, go ahead, Kenny.
Do you have his Twitter handle pulled up? Oh, okay, go for it. Yeah.
So I got first we tagged Matthew Kaminsky, who is the Braves organist, right?
Mm-hmm.
Him and Cooney are pretty good friends, and he responded with, I don't know what that is, but then he tagged the Cardinals organist, who is Jeremy Boyer. Shout out. Go like and follow his page. And he immediately was like, yes, I know what that is. And what is it again? Meet Me in St. Louis.
Yeah.
So he actually has the whole album out of organ music, baseball related. So give him some love. Shout out. Thank you for solving that riddle. I was right. My being correct and right on the spot is still.
I don't feel bad that none of us knew that though.
Yeah,
because
that guy
St. Louis only.
Well, and that guy again.
You've all been to more St. Louis games than you've been to anything else.
I don't pay attention to St. Louis themed songs though.
Guys, real quick, we could
Yep.
make history. Get both of them on the pod. And this could be like the first like organist duel.
Yeah.
I just want Matthew Kaminsky to be on the pod and play music for us like he does at the game, like walk-up songs, in between songs. Today, for Jerickson Profar leading off, he played the Jurassic Park theme. Every time Jerickson Profar came up.
He doesn't have to come play music. I just want to come pick his brain.
Corey, did you say you tried?
It was
Did
awesome.
you shoot a DM?
It wasn't a DM. I just
gotta slide in there, man.
Thread. In the thread, I was just like, "Hey, thanks, guys. If we would love to have you on and talk music and baseball." I thought about saying we
And
got a
they
former
muted
John
us.
Phillips Sousa award winner on the pod,
That's right. How do you
but I
know
don't know
that?
that they would know what that meant.
How do you
So-
know what that means?
I went to the same high school you did.
You just find places where my
I
name's
don't
on the
think
wall.
that's a.
I think
a
I have
Pittsfield High
your.
School
I'm sure
thing.
I have your senior yearbook at my house.
That's
Not
probably
yours
true.
specifically,
Yeah, that's
but
probably
the
true.
year from you.
That's probably true.
So you're telling me they blocked us though? So
Yeah, they haven't talked to us since.
Yeah, they
Corey
didn't
gave
say
me a
anything
bite.
back. But I did shoot my shot, and they did not express any sort of interest. But I think it would be fun. I mean, Aaron, do you have a favorite Matthew Kaminsky walk-up song for a visiting team?
No, he's just so creative. Like, you never know what song, and he's very interactive with the fans. He'll play a song, and like fans will tweet him like, "What? I don't get it. Like, why are you playing that?" And he'll like start polls and stuff online, and finally tell them at the end of the game if nobody figured it
That
out.
dude's got a sweet job.
Yeah. And he just comes up with any song. Like the day of, he'll say, "Here's the lineup, guys. Give me some ideas," and he can play 30 songs on the spot.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
I think my
amazing.
favorite was Reese McGuire from a couple of years ago. I'm not sure if we can get into specifics of that, but
yeah.
Played the Reese's theme song.
No, he played "Beat
Reese
It" by Michael
McGuire,
Jackson.
Yeah, he got in trouble for
public
displays of affection to himself.
to himself. Yeah, and so Matthew Kaminsky played "Beat It" by Michael Jackson. So,
oh man. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, well, on to my actual.
Let's talk about Little League now. After that,
What a segue!
Oh,
man,
God.
my topic
Well-
is about a Little League.
oh, you killed him. You killed
All
him.
right, let's pause so the censors drop us.
yeah.
Okay,
Good.
so picture this, if you can, if you will. We've all seen it.
Okay, I'm picturing.
Okay.
Not a good segue again, but okay.
So, sun's down,
Mm-hmm.
lights are on.
Mm-hmm.
Millions of bugs circling those lights, of
Yep.
course. You got, let's say you got about 190 to left, 190 to right, about 210 to center. You are, I mean, I was gonna say you're probably about,
Corey
I don't
size.
know. I was gonna say 4'11". Corey was probably 2.5 inches tall.
2.5
You're-
inches tall?
You're, you're
Like a
7
30,
years
30.
old. You're trying to swing a bat that's heavier than you. But anyway, where this is coming from, I got some small nephews, and the oldest one is just starting to play. And so I've watched a few games, Little League games, that is, at the same field. I know me and Cooney played at. We got pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys play there too, Jared, Corey?
Yeah, it's on the north side of town. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I thought we could maybe just talk about maybe some Little League memories, maybe when we first fell in love with the game, because
Oh, I got a great one.
you kind of start and you're like, I don't even know what this game is, and then you either love it and try to get good, or you quit after 2 years. But I'll go ahead and start with a story that I remember. So I was on the, you always have your local businesses or whatever sponsor your team, and I was on the Firemen, so I don't know if we were publicly funded or what, but we did have some sweet bats. And we were playing the powerhouse. You could say they were like the Yankees of that day. and Neiman Foods. You know, they were
You
heavily.
guys are the Yankees of the day.
No, Neiman Foods, man. Anyway, we needed one out to win the game. And my second point I have here is called enhance the mechanism. That is off a Kevin Costner baseball movie where he's trying to throw a perfect game, and he's able to he's able to push all noise and distraction out of his mind, right? Well, anyway, I'm playing second base, and I get a pop up to me for the last out, and it's one of the few times I can ever remember playing a sport or doing anything where I heard nothing, I remember nothing other than watching the ball come down into my golden glove, caught for the last out, and it was one of my best baseball memories. We beat that team that was undefeated that nobody thought could be beat. And so yeah, I'll throw it to our listeners as you're driving or listening or doing whatever. Think of your maybe first or one of your first baseball memories, but I'll let the guys here discuss what they think of. Jared, you said you had a good one.
Oh yeah, no. I think we still had the fireman rotary.
They didn't get
Lions and Legion were combined.
Yeah, and that was the team I was on. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Look, we all grew up in the same hometown. Y'all know what your last name is. You played. So I got put on this team of, I'll just say it, the team that wasn't very good.
I was on that team too.
You know what I'm saying. You know exactly what I'm saying.
That's true.
So,
yeah.
I actually started in Little League. They put me at third base. That's where I started. And I guess because I had a decent arm, I don't really remember that much because I got moved to the outfield very quickly because I was pretty quick. But I mean, this sticks in my head. We all know Jacob Hebner. Jacob, if you're listening, this story involves you.
Big country, baby.
He was first base because for that age, he was tall and big, so you just put the tallest, the biggest person at first base. That's what you do. I mean, I threw probably the hardest I've ever thrown from third to play. And I mean, but it was right on the money. But I mean, it goes right off the top of his glove. I thought it smoked him in the head, hits him directly in the bill, broke his bill, down the seam. It just broke it. And he's looking around for the ball. And I thought I smoked him in the head. But no, it broke his bill. That always sticks out to me from Little League. So that was one that probably my biggest Little League memory that I remember. So
yeah, no, I mean Little League's great because it's same with me. You didn't play where you played later in your life when you were Little League. I was probably played some shortstop, played some outfield, but I do remember I got to catch for the first time in Little League, and it our catcher got hurt or something. I don't know how hurt you can get playing Little League baseball. I mean, certainly there are times when you can, but I don't think anything particularly drastic happened to him. But I remember I caught, but I was so little I couldn't hold the catcher's mitt up, so I was catching with a normal baseball glove. And I caught one inning of the last game of a season when I was 9, and then I was telling my parents, I was no, I want to do that more than that. And so that was kind of a fun thing if that's how you do that.
The legend was made.
Yeah, there it was.
And then I mean the all-star tournaments at the end of the year, those are always fun. Just kind of because all the guys from the area, so you kind of actually getting to play with them was a good time. And just those tournaments, it was it's still, as far as baseball tournaments go, it wasn't a lot, but when you're 10 and you have these teams coming from out of town, and the crowds are bigger, instead of 40 people, it's 80 people, and it really felt like it was a big thing. And looking back on it now, you're this was 80 people in the middle of nowhere, but when you're 10, you don't know that, and it's kind of a different fun experience. And so it's like we said, this is kind of where you learn to love the game, and that's when the game's fun, is when you're 10, 11, 12, stuff like that. So, I mean, I still love watching the Little League World Series as a 30-year-old man. I don't know if we can say that based on how this podcast has went so far, but I'll say it.
I don't know. A couple of weeks ago, we did, I guess, was it last week? We did our 10th episode, and my dad texted this picture. And Corey, I keep giving him your number, and he won't put you in the group chat. So I don't know
Thanks,
why, but
Thanks, Pat.
so he sent that to me. If you can see that, because I wore number 10, and look at that beast. I mean, that's Rotary. That's Rotary's cleanup hitter.
Got some legs.
It's a green helmet too.
Yeah,
You were the cleanup. Wait. You were the cleanup hitter here.
Yes, as a 10-year-old. So that tells you how good our team was. And this one
Yeah,
I
'cause
never
that's like
understood
freshman.
because we drafted
Mm-hmm.
in reverse order, and yet so the first year there was 5 teams before Neiman folded, and we got 4th. We beat the Lions. They were bad. And then the next year there's 4 teams. We got 3rd. We beat the Lions. And the next year there was 4 teams. We got 3rd. We beat the Lions because Legion and the Firemen, man, just loaded with a bunch of cheaters.
Wait, what? We're doing roids at 11?
No, remember Van Street's bat. Everybody,
yeah,
every
yeah,
game,
yeah.
people. One of our best friends was a foot taller than all of us. Could swing this bat that none of us could even pick off the ground. And every game, our coaches try to get him kicked out for using a illegal bat. His dad was one of the coaches. Try to get his dad kicked out, and then he would just hit a 400-foot home run off of us. So the regular season was just kind of a joke, but the 12-year-old All-Stars, and Joe, you remember this, All-Star team, we get destroyed. I don't remember what the final score was, but I feel like it was like 30-0. First game, Macomb just whoops us like so bad. So we get sent directly to the losers bracket, and we come through the losers bracket to the championship, and it's Macomb, and we beat them on back-to-back nights. And our buddy, Kyle Sethler, shout out to Pudge, same age as us, graduated high school with us. He hits a walk-off double, and Pudge earned his name as a little kid. Could flat out throw, could flat out rake, but his name was Pudge for a reason. And watching him sprint that double out, hands in the air, standing at second, game-winning run, first ever regional championship for Pittsfield. I don't know if anybody's done it since. I'm sure they have.
I still got the pin.
But we were the first ever regional champs, and that was a blast. We won't talk about what happened in sectionals the week after. We didn't go any further.
But we're talking about Little League. How do we get to high school?
It's districts.
No, that was
districts. Well, we call it districts.
Yeah,
now.
it was called districts. Yeah.
It was 12-year-old All-Stars for Little League.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah, we also won the regional championship in high school. You're correct.
You're welcome.
Yep. But no, it was the first ever Little League championship for Pittsfield.
Man, I'm glad you brought up this Little League thing because now, like, there's so many things that are.
Oh man, yeah.
There's a whole other episode, man.
My branding, but real quick, man. I think the coolest thing for me too was always that snack shack.
Oh yeah.
Right at home plate, man. Like just being like, I'm gonna get some big league chew, and I just put the most gum I could in my mouth.
Those
like
pixie sticks that were like this long. Get a baseball, get the foul ball, throw the foul ball in. They give you a soda or a pixie stick.
Being there for those nights in that game, like it really. I think Corey said it the best. Like I think that's where I just fell in love with the game, man. Like
the
you look back at those,
it wasn't super competitive when we played.
Yeah.
Now these little kid leagues, man, they're ridiculous.
Yeah. I imagine like going back to that stadium now would just be like so. I don't want to say disappointing, but I'd be like, oh, this is what it looks like, huh?
It actually looks nicer now. They've done a lot of work to it. Batting cages, indoor and outdoor cages.
Yeah, they've done a lot.
It looks nice, yeah.
Well, maybe I would be impressed, but
it was a lot of fun though.
That's good.
Good job, Joe. Nice topic.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for Joe West's Ty Cobb.
Yeah, it's never gonna happen.
Yeah.
I don't think he actually has any sort of thing here. Yeah, it's just like what's the most ridiculous thing I can say that people are gonna get excited about, and I'll just never talk about it. All right, let's move in. Man, all I'm gonna think about is Little League baseball.
I know. I was trying to figure out what to talk about, but that championship was icing on the cake.
Let's get into our Major League weekend predictions, and let me tell you, your boy keeping it rolling went 1-4. But Joe, you're right there with me.
Man, I went 1-4.
Yes,
I'm gonna lose my GM offers.
Jared 2-3, and Aaron doing his dance went 4-1. Which brings the
Pirates over the Mets, baby. Pirates over the Mets.
Year-long total to Joe, still in the lead, clinging to the lead,
Yes,
20,
sir.
23 and 20. Aaron and Jared are at 22 and 21. One game back. I have nothing to do with this. This is all in the spreadsheet.
Right, yeah.
Well, I'm at 16 and 27, so if I was fudging the numbers, I'd be better than that.
Dude, you're bad at this.
Yeah, no, I know. That's why I picked ridiculous teams this week. So let's just see what happens.
Oh, that's great. I haven't even looked yet. This is great. Oh my gosh.
Man, some of these percentages here.
That's gonna be a cool face. I just dropped my baseball bat on the floor.
Don't worry, I saw it.
Oh
You start yelling yet?
Not yet, but we'll see. If they do, I'll also be hearing from my wife.
We didn't get a chance to talk about this, but the Rangers, just saying. You guys look so smart there.
Okay.
Go ahead.
First one we're doing is Tigers at Twins, the powerhouse AL Central matchup here. The Tigers were kind of holding their own for a while.
Let's do these rapid fire.
Not so much lately. I'm gonna take the Tigers because why not? I can't get worse than 1-4. Maybe I can.
They have one win in June, so
Yep.
that's doing good.
The cold hands.
Twins.
Joe.
Yeah, I'm still fighting to try to win this competition, so Twins.
Twins.
Pirates at Brewers. I think this is actually a pretty good matchup. I do like the Pirates pitching better. I guess. I mean,
Really?
I'm Mitch Keller and
You're in
Oviedo.
love with Mitch Keller, dude.
I am. I am in love with Mitch Keller. He's a beautiful man. I'm taking the Pirates.
I'm also taking the Buccos.
Brewers.
Brewers.
Guardians at
Corey, so
D.
that's great.
Yeah,
What's
good luck, Jared.
Guardians at D-backs. I like the Guardians pitchers here too, other than the Gallon game. So that's if my math's correct, that's 2 out of the 3 I think the Guardians are going to take.
Diamondbacks.
They're going to take the division by 15. They need to start winning some games. So let's go Cleveland.
Yep.
Diamondbacks.
Shocker, guys.
I'm going to say
Shocker.
you can't pick anybody but the Diamondbacks ever again.
Wow, I can do it smart. I've been smart about it.
No.
Giants.
Diamondbacks forever.
Giants at Dodgers. I like Logan Webb. I like Alex Cobb. Got some youth on the Dodgers side. I think the Giants can take this.
The Giants.
Gosh dang it, Corey. Can you not?
Those are Giants on diets.
Can't dodge Giants.
Are you taking the Giants, Jared?
Yes.
Corey, you got added to the group chat. San Fran's kind of on a roll.
See
Let's
that?
go with
That's a
them.
complaint. The first group chat message I get is a complaint. Hello, Pat. Sorry,
Hey, Pat.
somebody hit a power pole.
Sorry, Pat. I hit a power pole.
Aaron,
What are we on? What did Joe pick?
Giants, Dodgers. Everybody's taking the Giants so far.
I'll pick Dodgers.
Can't dodge them. White Sox at Mariners. White Sox are hot, and the hot hand stays hot when the heater's on. So I'm taking the White Sox.
I'm going to pick the Mariners. Because that's what I have circled.
All right.
Yeah, I got Seattle.
I'll do Mariners. I like that trio of young studs on the list there.
All right. We've got 2 series where I'm the lone pick with the Tigers and the Tigers at Twins and the White Sox and the White Sox at Mariners. 3-1 Giants Dodgers, split on Guardians D-backs, and split on Pirates Brewers.
I did not pick a single one that Corey picked, guys. That was my strategy. If anybody saw that, I went last. And I didn't pick any same as Corey.
Probably a pretty good strategy.
Hey, question about this.
Uh-huh.
This is for a game and bragging right.
That was unintentional, but that's funny.
I'm saying, when are we making these picks? Because I could wait for Corey to pick too. I'd be like, yep, I'm not picking what Corey's picking. Are we not picking these before we go live?
I usually do. This is the first time I did not.
Okay.
I usually do.
All right.
I had
nothing.
But I usually do.
This.
My whole life is spur of the moment.
I don't know,
That's a good t-shirt.
a bad thing.
First shirt is I'm an idiot. Second one is
I mean, it
my
ain't
whole
worked
life is
out
spur of the
yet, but
moment.
you gotta think at one point it hits, right?
Blind squirrel finds acorns when the oven mitt is out.
Yep, that's what I've
All right.
heard.
Crack of the bat.
A broken clock is right when it's hot, twice a day. With
Lest the
squirrels
hands
and
fall off.
acorns. Yep. Then they get
Yeah.
cold.
Someone in this podcast.
All righty, let's do it. That was another great edition of Rake Your Position, I believe. Lots of great insights and some wonderful memories.
Yes.
Memory
And
lane.
next week, we're going to have a little special edition buyers and sellers at Rake. So we're going to talk trade deadline. We're about a month out from the trade deadline, a little over a month. So we're going to start talking who's going to be shipping pieces where and who's going to make a run for the playoffs because of it. So until then, guys, don't forget to
Rake your
keep the oven mitt on.
position.
Meet me in St. Louis for an